Fantasy gamers all over the world struggling trying to find a running back on the cheap to trade for. Today, I got 3 running backs here that you can catch on a value in your leagues, and we're going off their workload. Running backs are getting a lot of touches, but not doing much with it. Eventually, if you're getting touches, you're going to eventually turn that into production some way or somehow. Here are the 3 running backs that we're looking at today. The criteria from the spreadsheet that I pulled, they had to at least get 50 or more touches in the last 3 weeks. Weeks 5, 6, and 7. And I just took the 3 worst scores. There's not many running backs who are getting 50 or more touches over a 3-week period because there are not many running backs that are bell cows. So these running backs are getting touches but are not producing the production that you usually get with that amount of touches or workload. So you might be able to catch these guys at a discount, and maybe down the road, later in the season, they might be able to churn out some production. These players are from the spreadsheet. I did not handpick these guys. So sometimes when I do lists like these, I argue with the spreadsheet. So when I go over the numbers, I'll also tell you my thoughts on the player. But the first running back that we're going to go over today is Ezekiel Elliot. And I feel like I've done one of these before, and Zeke was on it, and he keeps coming up. He keeps getting touches, but it's not churning out to top-tier production. Over the last 3 weeks, 41 fantasy points, 13.7 PPR points per game, which isn't too bad. That gets it done for you a little bit. It doesn't kill you. 51 touches during that time, 17 touches per game, which is solid for a running back. If you're close to the 20 touch mark, that's pretty good in this era. 1 target in 3 weeks, that's not solid at all. With 1.3 target share, that makes him a big risk. He doesn't have the targets going his way to elevate his floor. He's averaging 21 routes per game here and a 24.7 route participation rate. Remember, he's sharing the backfield with Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard runs a lot of routes. So that's going to lower the distribution there. It's also going to lower his ability to get targets. He's rushed for 216 yards. His points have been elevated by 3 touchdowns that he scored. The thing about Zeke, though, they're going to pound him out around the goal line, and he is going to get his workload. He gets a lot of workload between the tackles. Every now and again, he'll get a check down here and there. The volume's starting to diminish compared to previous years, as it should. He's older now. He's nursing a knee injury. The thing about the knee injury, a lot of people are going to shake their head at it because they don't want to get an injured running back. The one thing that can go your way with this is that knee injury could allow you to get him at a cheaper discount. Even before, because he was pretty cheap prior to that, because he hasn't been productive most of the year. He's had to give you some good RB2 weeks. He's got 1 RB 1 week on the season. So there is some production here. I think he has 4 games this season where he scored in double digits in PBR. Not too bad, really. He's kind of sneaky okay. You just not in love with it. It's not over the moon results. Is he a guy you want to trade for? Depends how cheap. He might be super free right now. You might be able to get rid of like your third receiver and get him if you need a running back, especially now that he's got the injury. And we know the touch distribution here is run heavy and not target heavy, which could hurt his floor, which will hurt his floor. Continues not getting much work in the passing game. So that's something you want to look into. I'm kind of iffy on him. It really depends on how free he is. The next running back is Naji Harris, a very controversial running back this year. A lot of people were high on him going into the season. We were expecting more. We were really expecting him to get more touches. He's got 30 points in the last 3 weeks, 10.2 points per game, on 50 touches, 16.7 touches per game. This Pittsburgh offense is transitioning. New quarterback. We got a rookie in there. We're trying to slink it downfield a little bit more. We're not relying on the run as much. But Naji Harris could turn you out some production later in the year, especially if this offense really starts to transition. Plus, he's getting touches right now. He's also getting some targets. At 11 targets in 3 weeks, 9.2% target share. Not too bad for a running back in this offense, and also this offense has been transitioning. The thing about it, though, you're seeing Jalen Warren get some touches here. You're seeing Naji Harris in this offense, and they're trying to sling it downfield a little bit more. You're seeing Kenny Pickett transition, so it is a little bit iffy, but he is running 19.3 routes per game, 41.7 route participation rate. That's still solid for a running back. We just need to turn this into production. 127 rushing yards, not the sexiest, but he crosses the goal line a couple more times, and this last 3 weeks point total would look a little better. The thing is, though, we need more production out of him, but the workload here, the touches, could turn into something later. Let me know in the comments if you're trying to get Naji Harris on the cheap, because he is getting a fair amount of touches here, a good use rate, and if that's something you're into, if you're into Naji before, are you trying to catch him cheaper? Because now when you buy into him, you're not getting him at the price point you did earlier in the season. You're getting him at a much cheaper rate. He is being ranked low week after week in the weekly rankings on all the fantasy football platforms. Maybe a guy that could turn things around later. Very skeptical on the Pittsburgh offense as a whole, but now you're not paying that much for him. You're paying pennies, and if you're not paying pennies, then you're not buying them. So Naji Harris might be on your radar. Same with Zeke. Looking at this next guy here, Raheem Mostert, and the thing about him is he's been productive. He's been good, and I made sure he was last on the list, and because, he's been productive. He's been getting workload. Look at the numbers here. 45.9 points in the last 3 weeks. 15.3 points per game. After that, it just gets higher. These are the three worst with 50 or more touches. The last guy's got 15 points per game. I was going off of points per game. That's pretty solid still. You're not going to get many running backs getting this many touches not producing. So there's not many buys, but you really want to buy the workload. He's also got 10 targets. Last 3 weeks, 8.9% target share, runs 24.7 routes per game. So those could turn into targets here soon, which could elevate his production even more, elevate his ceiling. 57.4% route participation rate. I love this. I love his work in the passing game here. Even though the targets aren't coming his way, they could. If you keep running routes, targets are going to eventually come your way. That's just the law of supply and demand here. 241 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Still getting you some solid production here, and getting the workload. And the thing is, Raheem Mostert's not a sexy name. Could be a guy you can catch on the cheap here. And I look for this Dolphins offense to continue to hum, because they got some good weapons in the offense. Mostert's got some speed, and he's getting a lot of touches. So to me, it looks like he could potentially be a value. I think all three of these guys can be a value. It just depends if you actually want them and what they're actually being traded for. But these are some shots in the dark that you can take if you want to. If there's another running back in the league that you are trying to buy on the cheap, let me know in the comments below. Love to hear about it. I might even do a video on it if it's interesting enough, or if you want me to. If I got time, I might do it. Just let me know. But I want to thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. It really helps the channel. It helps you in your fantasy season going forward, because I'm always trying to find buy lows, wide receivers, running backs, waiver wire pickups, and everything else. I want to thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.